like clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols.
The last chapter of Boruto was absolutely insane, and one of the biggest surprises of that chapter is, of course, Boruto opening a portal with this karma seal, which is absolutely insane. And of course, there's some good things and some bad things. I want to cover both sides. Now, first things first, we have to understand if it was actually the karma seal that opened up the portal, because if you guys do recall, Boruto has the ability to open up a portal with his Jogan as well. He did that in the first arc of the series, and we haven't really seen the Jogan do much ever since then, but still we have to understand that he does have the potential to use the Jogan. Now, real quick, just to refresh a lot of you guys, Boruto's Jogan portal, it looked a lot like Sasuke's Rinnegan portal, almost identical. And if you guys look back earlier in the manga, this is how Sasuke's portal looked in the manga. So it almost being a one-to-one comparison in the anime, it could possibly be a one-to-one comparison in the manga as well. Now, in this particular situation, the last chapter of Boruto, that portal looked absolutely different. It looked a lot more spread out, it looked a lot more fluid, and because of that, I'm going to be moving as if it was the karma seal that actually opened up the portal, which would definitely make sense, mainly because in the manga we haven't really seen the Jogan thus far. It didn't return to the quote-unquote Byakugan. Now, Boruto opening up a portal was absolutely impressive. Even more impressive, in the actual manga chapter, Boruto said that he hasn't really done it before, and that's not even the most surprising part. You have to understand the level of confidence that Sasuke had in Boruto. Boruto, as I said, had not opened a portal by himself, but yet Sasuke threw my man's full speed at Isshiki Otsutsuki, the strongest character that we have ever seen before, and he had that much confidence in Boruto, and that was absolutely insane. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? I think it could be both. It definitely could be a bad thing, mainly because the karma seal is advancing extremely rapidly. And over the past couple of chapters, we've seen what happened when the karma seal is actually complete. The otsutsuki member then takes over the person's body. So that would probably mean that Boruto doesn't necessarily have that much time left with his friends. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't think that we should be worried yet. And I say that mainly because Boruto at this particular point doesn't really know a lot of things pertaining to the karma seal. There's still a lot of things that we don't necessarily know about the karma seal, mainly because Jigen was an absolute monster in itself, and Kawaki himself still didn't really understand a lot about the karma seal. And even though Kawaki was a lot further ahead with the karma seal, he was still a ways away of having the karma seal actually being complete. What we have to understand is that there is still a set time frame of which a vessel has to have the karma seal for the karma seal to actually fully mature. And so because of that, I feel like just Boruto learning another ability of the karma seal shouldn't necessarily be a very big deal. But I do want to point something out. In the earlier chapters of the Boruto manga, Jigen said something very interesting. He said that Boruto and Kawaki's karma seal, they're pretty much radiating off of each other, and they're maturing a lot faster than usually. This right here could possibly be a bad thing, which could possibly mean that Boruto and Kawaki might have to completely separate if eventually Kawaki does actually get the karma seal again. The problem with this situation, however, is that we don't necessarily know the exact stage of the karma seal progression, and we don't know the exact time frame. Isshiki Otsutsuki could have potentially been into Jigen's body for over 1,000 years. That right there just gives us a 1,000-year window of when the karma seal fully matures. Now, of course, I'm not saying that the process is going to be 1,000 years, because we understand that Isshiki Otsutsuki was controlling Jigen way before the karma seal actually took a hold of his body. But regardless, we have no idea at what point did Isshiki Otsutsuki actually give Jigen the karma seal. And one of the main reasons why I personally am not really concerned about this whole situation is the fact that Boruto, in my opinion, is still at the early stages of the karma seal. If you guys do recall back a couple chapters ago, Kawaki entered the second stage of the karma seal. This was without Isshiki Otsutsuki's influence, which pretty much means that he acquired the stage with the horn. Now, at that particular point, we've never really seen that before. That is an evolved state of the karma seal. Boruto is still not there yet, and Kawaki himself, even though he had the karma seal a lot longer than Boruto did, he barely entered the second stage with the karma seal. And even that point, as I said, the karma seal still really didn't have full control over Kawaki's body. And even then, when Kawaki had a much more matured karma seal, Jigen or Isshiki Otsutsuki at that point was still extremely surprised that Kawaki's karma seal had evolved to that state already. So that right there tells me that Boruto is years, potentially even decades away from the karma seal actually completely engulfing his body. And I do want to say there is definitely a significance of Boruto opening a full-blown portal, but I'm viewing that ability as the same as like absorbing chakra. Of course, you're going to be able to gain different abilities of the karma seal, but it's all going to be like the same ability. I don't think that on stage one you're going to unlock a certain ability of the karma seal, and then on a different level you're going to unlock another ability, and then on a different level you're going to unlock another ability. If that was actually the case, Kawaki would have been able to unlock portals by himself for a very long time already. But then again, I do have to add this slight caveat right here. The time frame of Kawaki's karma seal and Boruto's karma seal maturing might actually be different, mainly because Boruto actually has his otsutsuki member pretty much resting in his consciousness. Isshiki otsutsuki, as I said, was completely inside of Jigen. He wasn't necessarily inside of Kawaki, even though Kawaki had the karma seal from Isshiki otsutsuki. That could possibly mean that Kawaki's karma seal would then evolve a lot slower. But still, as I said, we should definitely not be completely worried as of yet. But getting off of that subject real quick, one of the greatest moments of the last chapter of Boruto was the moment where Sasuke actually said like, yo, I'll kill you if you can't really control yourself and you try to lash out and destroy the village. Now, he didn't necessarily say that verbatim, but you kind of got the feeling that Sasuke wasn't necessarily afraid if Boruto does in fact lash out. I don't think that Sasuke would have to do that right now. I think that momoshiki, if he does pop in, he's going to pop out real quickly. I think that's going to be a very big problem when the karma seal actually does mature and Boruto is then basically battling with momoshiki for the right to control his own body. I think at that particular point, then Sasuke is going to have to make a decision like, hey, should I actually kill Boruto right now? And I think at that particular point, it might actually be too late because, as I said earlier in the video, we have no idea of the time frame. What if the karma seal fully matures in like, I don't know, 30 years? And at that particular point, Sasuke is like 60 years old and he can't really contend with a character like Borushiki or Momoshiki fully formed in the body of Boruto. I think over the course of Boruto Shippuden, you're going to get to see a very strong internal dilemma with Sasuke. Of course, if he is still alive by that time, I think that he definitely will be still alive by that time, but you're going to see a very serious internal struggle with Sasuke asking himself, should I kill Boruto right now? It's going to be inevitable that Sasuke and Naruto, they're going to be trying to find remedies and ways to actually extract the karma seal from Boruto, but if Sasuke gets to a point where he's like, hey, this is impossible, is he going to ask himself, should I actually kill Boruto right now and get everything over with? And the important thing to realize is the fact that Sasuke is not going to be the only one making this moral decision and having this internal struggle. I'm pretty sure you guys understand, a lot of people in the Hidden Leaf Village, they want to protect the Hidden Leaf Village as well. You have a character like Naruto and also Shikamaru making that moral decision. Now, of course, if I'd assume if Naruto would actually go through with potentially trying to destroy his son, potentially trying to protect the village, I think that of course Naruto would definitely choose to not do it. I think that Naruto would have a plan, backup plans for his backup plans, and backup plans for that backup plan. I think because of that, you're going to have a situation where Shikamaru, along with Sasuke, if everything does go wrong and Naruto potentially doesn't really have a way to stop Boruto from getting taken over by Momoshiki, and Momoshiki is still extremely evil, you're going to have Shikamaru and Sasuke trying to talk some sense to Naruto, and if that doesn't work, they can potentially try to beat some sense to Naruto on their way to actually destroying Boruto, because at that particular point, you have to understand the fate of the village is a lot more important than one boy. That right there is going to be a very important lesson in the upcoming chapters of the Boruto manga. We're going to get to see the Hidden Leaf Village, potentially not the Hidden Leaf Village because of course they pretty much moved to a different dimension, but you're going to get to see Naruto and Sasuke potentially take a lot of damage just to protect one boy in Kawaki. But I do want to know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Are you guys worried about Boruto's karma seal progressing extremely rapidly, and are you guys worried about Boruto one day potentially losing full control over his body to Momoshiki? But it's been your boy Baara, and we out.
It's a knife.